the chapter out? Chapter's out? Fuck. Alright. You know what this means, though? If the chapter's out, then I'm out. I will see you all in 10 minutes. Let me read this shit. Give me a second. Let me find the waiting screen. Let me give you guys the waiting screen. Hold on. Thanks for linking the chapter. Shouts to TCB. Thanks, Sean. Shouts to TCB. TCB's been pretty good with their, timeliness and everything. Yeah, the room's half painted. I want to see what it looked like and everything like that. I think I like the new color. Probably gonna. You want me to live react? Let me live react. Did I say I'll read on screen this time? I don't think I said I'd do a live reaction. I don't think I said I'd do a live reaction. Drive Force says he thinks the waiting screen is funny. Honestly, it's just I need something that's not just me silently reading the thing. Or I could get up, go to a different room, read it on the other laptop. Then you guys get a chair stream. I don't think you guys like those. It's live reaction chapter. All right, you know what? Next time I'll do a live reaction. I did that. There's no way I promised that last time. That's actually impossible. There's no way I promised that. I know Law's in it. I know Blackbeard's in it. These are the things I know. I also think Ivankov's in it from my understanding, because I saw I'm pretty sure I know Ivankov's in it, because the image I saw on Twitter was some gender bent Law shit. Ivankov's definitely in it, right? I did. Pat Golly says you're just gonna do this every time. Sean Easton says this is a great chapter for it, though. Alright, let's do it like this. We get 3 new members in the next 2 minutes, and I will live react. That's how real streamers do it. 3 new members, and I'll live react. If the timer's up by then I'm just gonna react off stream. I think that's the fair way to do it. We're gonna set a timer. No, I don't want to live react. You know what? I don't want to live react. I don't have to live react. Members or no members, I don't have to live react. All right? I'm gonna pull up the image, and I think that's the way we do it. It was a short chapter. Was it action-packed? React live. Okay, we got a member. Thanks, JM Gomez. I appreciate it. Thank you for the... Okay, thanks, Joe D. Welcome. Fuck. Okay, now you guys are making me feel bad. So, you know what? I'll live react. No more members. Okay, thanks. No more members needed. I'll just do the live reaction. It's good enough. I take it back. Well, Tofi 2000, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm not doing that again. Don't worry. I didn't want to live react is the actual thing. Fine. Here's the thing. Let me let you guys in on it. If I live react, I feel this pressure to be making faces and commentary the entire time. It's just this whole thing. It makes it not fun. It makes it not fun for me. You guys won't have fun. Gasan Ubanara, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm live reacting regardless. This is... You guys understand? You're literally ruining the chapter for me. It's not going to be fun for you guys. JK Kane says, this one got me scared, Morge. Fine. You know what? I will live react. But I'm not going to make it fun for you guys, all right? I'm just going to... There will be no scans or anything shown. I'm just going to silently read through it, all right? Let's go. All right? Nobody complain that it's a shitty live reaction. I'll tell you where I'm at, all right? Cover page. The only family I've got. When I read a chapter, I want to be comfortable in my bed, preferably with, a nice little drink next to me or something like that. You guys, all right, I'll read it here on this shitty fucking desk. I'll try and play up my facial expressions. All right, let's do this. Oh, fuck. Wait, oh my God. This definitely is Aokiji. right? Because last chapter people were saying that it can't be Aokiji because he's fucking up innocent civilians. Hold on, I actually got to go back and check. Let me see. So previous chapter, was he freezing innocent civilians or are these just Big Mom pirates? Because there's some people that does seem like Aokiji may be freezing some innocent civilians. That's fine. Okay, so what's Brulee's? It looks like he just rolled through Cracker pretty effortlessly. Where's Katakuri at? This is the bit. There is an important moment coming for Katakuri here. A very important moment. The thing is, nobody expects Katakuri to beat Aokiji, correct? Nobody expects Katakuri to beat Aokiji, but he can't get done like Cracker just did in an off-screen single panel shot like this. Not after what Caesar did to him. So I don't fully understand. Okay, so Brulee's crying. She's saying something about pudding. Anyone want to clarify what she's saying about pudding? And what are these two black shadows surrounding pudding? Two black shadows surrounding pudding. I actually don't understand what this cover panel is. I literally don't understand what this cover panel is. There are two black shadows surrounding pudding. Maybe I need to reread this cover story from the start. We'll get back to that. You guys can clarify for me as we go. This is one thing. Hold on. I bet they'll all love the food machine except maybe Sanji. I like that that's being acknowledged in that it's a robot taking his job. I also like that the fact that Jewelry Bonnie's name is Big Eater Jewelry Bonnie is not being forgotten. Like, that is a huge part of her persona. That's as defining a part of her persona as I suppose the Straw Hat is for Luffy. So it's good to see. I wonder who would win in an eating competition between her and Luffy. You guys sure can eat. The recycler. That's funny. If I don't run Riot, no one will. Riot Games? If I don't run Riot, no one will. I don't know if anyone actually runs Riot Games. What kind of job is that? This lab is so wacky. It says SSG on. I'm reading the panel where Luffy gets his outfit. It says SSG on it. That's some cool branding. This feels. Hold on. So it's just instant clothing, instant food. Are we gonna get a Bonnie outfit change? I have a feeling it's gonna be very similar to the Nami change back in Punk Hazard. Oh, it's not. No, it is. This is literally. Yeah. All right, I'm a fan of the Bonnie outfit. These are light. The boots make me feel like I'm floating. This is literally Germa 66. This is just Germa. It's Power Rangers all over again. Except you don't need to be a special mechanically enhanced being to get the clothes this time. They even have tropical stuff. Oh, Jinbei got a tropical. What? Why did? I thought these were battle suits. These would make for perfect disguises, but it's probably too late for that. I mean, we've been through this in Onigashima. We've been through. So this guy can do. So Vegapunk can. He's got Sanji's job on lock. He's got Kinemon's job on lock. Jinbei's just out here with the only non-futuristic outfit. Well, I'm off to find some weapons and deal with Vegapunk. Catch you later. It's Kuma. Luffy remembers Kuma's name. That's cool. Has Luffy talked about Kuma openly before, like by name? I'd have to go back and read Marineford. It's not a lot. Like, even Doflamingo, he was like Mingo, but I guess when you. Kuma caused Luffy a lot of trauma. He doesn't forget names like Akainu, Kuma, stuff like that. Is it just me or is he looking for us? So they got some pacifistas here, maybe upgraded versions. That stuff wasn't free. It sure seemed like it was free. What? Surely the damage he's causing is worse than what he did. Maybe the lab's really sturdy. That's a bit harsh for theft. I mean, it's assuming that you stole some high level tech. I don't think it knows that you stole clothes. Okay. You know what's interesting is so far in the story, I don't recall characters really deflecting or cutting or doing anything to the like the lasers are still to this day very effective. I'm sure Luffy can like punch through it or whatever, but yeah, we don't get. This is hold on. What's she doing? No, that's not your father. It's got the ugly crying out. Young Kuma. Dad Kuma. Is he wearing glasses? Does Dad Kuma wear glasses? Oh. Yeah, that's not. Has she never seen a pacifista before? She's been a lot. She's been in the New World for 2 years, right? Unless she just broke out again. Unless she literally just broke out again, in which case she would not have seen pacifistas. No, she would have seen pacifistas at Saboti. No, she did not encounter a pacifista at Saboti. Okay, here we go. Blackbeard ship. It's no good, Captain. Yeah, this is kind of, I knew that this was coming, but it sounded too crazy to be like. This sounded too crazy to believe, to be honest, that we're gonna see Law encounter Blackbeard so quickly. We just saw Law like 5 chapters. This is like that quickly? I thought we wouldn't see Law again for an arc or so. But he's what is gonna happen here? Yeah, I saw this image on Twitter. Gender bent Law. Is that gender bent Beppo in the back too? His crew is weird. How would Sanji react if Luffy got swapped? What is happening? Did they... I'm so confused. Did they steal Ivankov's fruit? There's no way. We just saw Ivankov. Wait, so Law cancel it out with Haki. That's going to be interesting. That seems a bit much to me. Okay, who was used? Well, okay, who? I'll talk about that in a second. There's no anti. It was just Haki. There's no antibody. The malady the malady malady transformation plague. Okay, that's a really strong fruit if it can casually do, I guess, the main function of Ivankov's fruit. Kind of like Law's fruit can casually do the main function of Corazon's fruit. It's always interesting. It just seems like this is just better. Wait, but if that's done with that... all right, we'll look at this in a sec. The buff fruit. I mean, that fits for Burgess. Did he have this already? Why wasn't it revealed to Dressrosa? Is this new? He's lifting a mountain. Oh, I didn't read this. So Van Augur has the warp fruit. Somehow I skipped past that. Okay. Okay, I see. Does Burgess have a different mask now? It looks pretty different. Might be the same thing. Wait, this is pretty cool. Because the okay, the teleportation fruit, we're assuming Van Augur fights Usopp, right? We're assuming Van Augur fights Usopp, in which case, that's a really interesting idea, because Usopp's going to have to, Van Augur's going to be able to move around a lot, right? So it's actually going to be a very interesting sniper battle. Van Augur will be able to teleport all around the battlefield. Usopp would most likely have to use some really high-level observation Haki to be able to catch him. We know observation Haki is kind of the one area that would have started showing Usopp blooming in. That could be a really good sniper battle. Really, really good. That's a great Devil Fruit idea for a sniper battle. I love that. But again, the Warp Fruit, that's just a worse version of Law's Fruit, because Law's Fruit is so good, it's crazy. The Corazon Fruit, the Warp Fruit, these are fruits that he just casually has. Also, not to mention Doc Q and the Sick Fruit, like that's a perfect matchup for Chopper. I'm really liking the insight into the Blackbeard Pirate's abilities. So Burgess has strength. I just want to know if he had this at Dressrosa. If he had this at Dressrosa or not. No wonder their bounties keep rising. I like to think Burgess didn't have this before. I would prefer to hope that he didn't have this before. It would make him more exciting as an opponent if he was already fairly strong and now got the buff fruit, which seems basically strength-based. It's going to crush us. Yeah, that's not going to do shit to Law. Yeah. Wait, what is he do? What? Blackbeard's just too heavy for it. It looks like he doesn't care. Okay, Blackbeard's smart. I also like it's a nice little similarity to, Luffy leaving Fishman Island, Smoker trying to figure out which island Luffy would pick out of the three. Luffy, of course, picked the most dangerous island. This is actually a little stupid on not stupid on Blackbeard's part, but it's actually surprising. I'm surprised he did not pick the right island, because Luffy tried to pick the most dangerous island. He and Kid competed for that. It seems like Law went with the most secure island, if I'm remembering that chapter correctly. So this would be the least likely one for Luffy to show up, but this is the one that Blackbeard guessed at. How many road poneglyph rubbings have you got? I'll be taking them off your hands. You took the words right out of my mouth. Let's settle this winner takes all. Wait. Thought we'd get to see a bit of their fight this chapter, but this is extremely exciting. If Okay, let me see what you guys are saying. What have I missed? I might as well just open up the supers tab. Let me just see. This opens up so many possibilities. It's crazy, actually, because it's like, why? Okay, hold on. J.K. Kane says this one got me scared. Weekly Shonen Punch says gotta love peer pressure. LMAO. Pina says you missed a spot, Morgie. Don John says been loving sharing my thoughts with you on Patreon, Mr. Lork. I like the idea that light deflecting gloves will help the Strats defend lasers. I hope that Haki can kind of just do the trick, but that is an interesting point. I was just talking about how lasers are a tricky thing to deal with even now. As for the painting of the wall, yeah, I'll probably do the rest of the room. After this. Sheriff Lafitte says, every time you think you're free of law for an arc, he comes back into the story. I don't know if he's going to be staying that long this time. I'm okay with him in spurts. Oja Kane says, Van Augur can probably teleport bullets into people. That would be amazing if he could in theory, but it's One Piece, and lots of times these broken abilities, Oda deliberately doesn't use them to their full extent, like Robin's laws, etc. Otherwise, it would make fights too boring. Sheriff Lafitte's, like, my guess is more so that he's gonna use it. He's gonna use the ability more so to move himself around to get a better vantage point to shoot at whoever he's fighting. Probably Usopp. Sheriff Lapfeet says Burgess could swim on Dressrosa and he wanted the Mera Mera and Luffy's fruit later. You're right. So this is a new and improved Burgess. Good call. Him wanting the Mera Mera and Luffy's fruit doesn't mean that much to me because he could have been collecting them for the crew. But the fact that he was able to swim in water after Sabo destroyed the Colosseum, that is a great point. So this is a new and improved Burgess. Who joined? I know that sound. Gotta welcome somebody. Chinho Wong, welcome to the Supernova. Nice to see you joining. Appreciate it. Tixie says there's a theory that Law's fight might be the plot device we need to figure out what is so weird about Blackbeard's body. That could prove if he is multiple people in one. That is a great theory. I really like that. Really like that theory. Because my question here is basically, why is this fight happening, right? So, Oda wouldn't just he wouldn't devote a bunch of panel time or half a chapter or even probably next chapter or whatever to some battle between not Straw Hat characters, right? Outside world battles and everything like that. If it didn't lead to something like the Boa Hancock incident led to Kobe being captured, right? Oda's not the type of author who shows us this stuff just so that we can get the action out of it, right? He cares more about actually moving along plot points and stuff, and we get a little bit of hype out of it. Obviously, it's very exciting to us because we're One Piece fans, and this is stuff that's been built up for a long time. But you get what I'm saying? I don't think he does action scenes just to do action scenes. Otherwise, we would have seen Akainu versus Aokiji. We would have seen Marco versus Blackbeard, stuff like that. So I imagine that we'll probably get... There's going to be some notable plot thing, right? I imagine that Law doesn't die here. I'm sure Law won't die here, but at the same time, it's like... Is the answer that Blackbeard's just going to hunt down everyone who has the road poneglyphs one at a time and acquire these road poneglyphs one at a time till ultimately he's face to face with Luffy? Is that option one? Option two, what you just suggested was, what is it? Finding out the truth about Blackbeard's body. That's a great possibility as well. Nathan H, welcome to the Yonko. I appreciate it. And Rei Uchiha, welcome to the Yonko. Yonko to your best here. JEM Gomez 1017 says Law Pack next week. Here's the thing. I might be about to have to eat my words about Law because I don't think that Oda's going to make Law look bad in this scenario. I think that Law is going to get a pretty good showing here, right? Because I just don't think that Oda's going to make Law look like a chump. I don't think he's just going to have Law just go down easily, right? In that case, it seems like Law is going to get a decent showing against Blackbeard, which I think, would finally be the 1v1 scenario that I'm looking for. Honestly, it's finally the reverse, where Law's having people team up against him, since it looks like it's going to be the Blackbeard pirates in general versus Law, unless Blackbeard tells them to back off. And the Blackbeard pirates in general versus... Yeah, all of them versus Law. That'd be a really good showing if he's even able to hold out for a little bit. That'd be pretty cool. Sheriff Laffy says Law versus Blackbeard on a random island feels like Ace versus Blackbeard. Yeah, but I just can't see Law just dying like this. There's no way. Pierce Sullivan says Law about to get low diffed or even fodderized. I don't think that that's... I think that Law won't win. Oda's not going to make Blackbeard look bad in that sense. He's building him up as the final villain, right? He already had Blackbeard run off from Rayleigh a little bit ago. Obviously, Blackbeard could have taken Rayleigh, acknowledged that himself, but... a little bit ago, we saw Blackbeard take out Hancock, or at least capture Hancock pretty successfully. I don't think that he's going to make Blackbeard lose to Law, right? I'm not saying anything like that, but I do think that this is a good opportunity to have Law look somewhat good, because no matter what, the deck is stacked against him in this case, right? His crew is so absurdly bad. It's, in terms of relative to the strength of its captain, it is probably the worst crew in One Piece, right? Relative to the strength of its captain, it's probably the worst crew in One Piece. So with that in mind, it's kind of just like, I think that Oda's going to have Law kind of go all out and at least show us something before ultimately being outmatched. But I don't think that Law's about to get low diff, to be honest. Honestly, if he does, that'd be a very nice surprise because it would prove me correct about everything I've been saying about Law. But I wouldn't be surprised if next chapter I'm having to put out some apologies saying, maybe Law's stronger than Kid or something. I don't know. Roxy Aritas says, Doc Q plus Stronger and its mythical fruit are scary. So, Stronger... I think Doc Q's fruit is scary. But the Pegasus wait a second. Okay, no. He has the Pegasus fruit. For a second I was like, did they fucking kill Gonfal's horse? His bird? Did they kill Gonfal's bird? But then I remembered that it's a bird that ate the horse fruit. This is the actual Pegasus fruit. Yeah, Dakyu's fruit it seems very versatile. Very, very versatile. Again, I think it's a great matchup for Chopper. It's the perfect matchup for Chopper. You couldn't ask for anything better for Chopper. Really, that's two of my biggest takeaways. The matchups for Usopp and Chopper this chapter are looking really, really great. Emil Diaz says, Law is going to accompany fellow Sword member Kobe. Would be cool to see if Law and Kobe are both captured and get to know each other a little bit. Fun. So, okay, here's where things get interesting. Law and Kobe both, the Rocky Port incident shit begins to link together a bit more and more here, right? So, Law, Blackbeard, and Kobe, all members of the Rocky Port incident, correct? So, these are some familiar faces that are all linking back. This is some juicy stuff. The gears are turning. Okay. So Kobe already captured part of Blackbeard's crew, right? Trying to find, okay, so some stuff happened at that pirate island. Wang Ji got taken down, overthrown, etc. Some people are theorizing that Kid, the man with flames that he's searching for, is Wang Ji. So all of these pieces are sort of connecting, right? So we got the Rocky Port gang back together, Law, Blackbeard, Kobe. Kid's out there searching for Wang Ji, the other member of the Rocky Port gang. Could all of these tie up together in some way? Interesting stuff. The Emil Diaz, no. Wheezy Bird says, Blackbeard capturing 3-Eye tribe member in Pudding, and Sabo made Burgess half cyborg, so he's Frankie's future fight. Burgess being Frankie's future fight. I think that would make a lot of sense because a lot of Frankie's fights are about like a test of manliness. Him versus Senor Pink, him versus Fukuro. Jesus Burgess is introduced as that sort of character. I think that would be great. Blackbeard capturing a 3-Eyed tribe member in Pudding. Okay, I see where the Pudding thing comes in now. Blackbeard is making some crazy moves right now. This is amazing. I love this. I absolutely love this. He's going to Whole Cake, picking up Pudding potentially. Potentially picking up Law. He's already got Kobe. If Blackbeard gets Law, I don't know why Blackbeard's not obsessed with Law's fruit. Because forget the road poneglyph. Law's fruit is just as valuable. Muhammad Isa says, I doubt these two actually get to finish a fight because Law will die if they do with his useless crew. I think something interrupts this fight. I mean, I would welcome another showing of like another one of those top tier characters popping up out of nowhere. That would be amazing. Yeah, Sheriff Lafitte saying, it's interesting all the major players in the Rocky Port incident are all close together. Kobe, Law, and Blackbeard. Yep. Nate Mate says, hey Morge, I've got a theory about Luffy chasing Blackbeard after this arc and losing his devil fruit, then Blackbeard heads to Wano. Care to hear it? No, because I also don't say anything about that just because I also personally am toying with the theory of Blackbeard having Luffy's fruit for his final matchup against Luffy. So that's something that I kind of want to keep my own ideas to myself on. I don't know about the Wano part though. That's interesting, but no need to share. Thank you for letting it be known though. Wait, did we just get a new member? Zoro, welcome to the Yonko. We got Zoro in the Yonko, where he belongs. Cigar Verk says, Kaiza says, Kobe, Blackbeard, and Law were at Rocky Port. Yep. We're all on the same wavelength here, same page. Cigar Verk says, Luffy remembers Kuma because he saved Sunny. Oda is using Law, so Blackbeard gets the prince and reach same point at Luffy, and viewers get some insight in Blackbeard. Yeah, I think getting the prince and everything like that and getting the same point as Luffy would be good. Viewers getting insight on Blackbeard is good. I wonder if that's the only thing we get out of this because the Rocky Port stuff is starting to sound pretty interesting as well. Bobby D. Blizzard says maybe Blackbeard made it to Lodestar before Luffy, which would... It's just interesting to me about the Rocky Port stuff because it, like, initially it was just this random, juicy little... Random fun sort of... I don't know, like... little tidbit of information that makes the world feel a little bit more alive. You know, we learned that Law was involved in something called the Rocky Port incident. Then we find out, oh, Kobe was also a part of that incident. That's how he became known as, you know, one of the heroes of the Marines. That's just some cool outside unnecessary information to us initially. It's just interesting in that it makes the world feel a little more alive, a little more interconnected, that things are going on outside of the Straw Hats. That was interesting when we first learned about it. Now it seems like this could be a very significant plot point that Oda's been building and building and building to, and he was setting up for it all the way back in Punk Hazard when he started explaining what happened with Law, then what happened with Kobe, then what happened with Blackbeard, etc. So, love it. Bloody... I want to say bloody. Bobby D. Blizzard says maybe Blackbeard made it to Lodestar before Luffy, which would hype him up as being good as being a pirate without him actually getting the One Piece. Maybe. Sheriff Loudfeet says it's time for Beppo and Jean Bart to show their stuff. Look, the last time that keep this in mind. So Law's crew, the last thing that they did that I remember combat-wise, Onigashima, sure, they were beating up fodder in Onigashima, but the last thing that we have to kind of scale them was this. At Zou, they were defeated by, like, random minks. Like, basically, Pedro's subordinates defeated Law's entire crew. Like, I think John Bart was getting fucked up by some random mink, like, like one of Pedro's top 3 in a squad or something like that. That's where they're at. So I don't want to see them doing shit against the Blackbeard pirates. It would be wildly inconsistent. EHB says Blackbeard got the Big Mom poneglyph plus pudding, and now he's going to take the one from Zou and Kaido's. Okay, makes sense. I want to see what happened to Katakuri. Crazy that Aokiji was the one that was responsible for that. Now he's going to take the one from Zou and Kaido's Luffy versus Blackbeard for the last one. That's a great idea. Yamil Diaz says, would Blackbeard have the 4th missing poneglyph? I mean, the going theory is that it's in Elbaf. So the fight being over the 4th one, being over that last one in Elbaf, I lean towards that. Abyssal Leviathan says more. Do you think this fight will reveal why Blackbeard's body is different, like he attacks his organs and notices something is off? That was what somebody was saying earlier, and I really like that idea. Isaiah Davis says if Kobe is on board Blackbeard's ship, we might get some Rocky Port content. Yep, I'm all on board for the Rocky Port content. I want to see these 3 characters interact: Law, Blackbeard, and Kobe. Tom says, who wins, Pierre versus Stronger? Also, Bonnie is so fun. I think Stronger would win. And yeah, I'm liking Bonnie so far. She gets along well with the gang. Caleb Brown says, I can see Law being sneaky and stealing the rubbing. Yeah. Hold on. Something's up here. No, never mind. We're good. Mr. Talk About It says, don't jinx it, Morge. Jinx what? Sheriff Lafitte says, Lafitte has... Sheriff Lafitte, I just realized you must be a big Lafitte fan. He says, Lafitte has the power of hypnosis. Maybe he can activate Pudding's power. Oh, Lafitte himself kind of awakens it. Yeah, I like that we're getting a nice spread of Blackbeard pirates so far. So we got to see Avolo Pizarro and... was it Vasco Shot? Shoot. Who attacked Hancock's Island? I think it was Vasco Shot and Katarina Devon, right? Then we're getting the old squad here, which is Burgess, Doc Q, Stronger, and Van Auger. Wonder what Shiryu and them are up to. I wonder if they're the ones that are attacking Whole Cake Island. If we got a bit of Shiryu versus Katakuri, that would be amazing. Chin Huang says, RIP Blackbeard doesn't need road poneglyph theory. Yeah, I mean, there was something that somebody brought up at one point, which was like, what if Blackbeard just attacks Luffy directly and takes all the road? Like, there's no need to get them one by one. You could just go after Luffy and get all of them. But I guess same goes for what he's trying to do right now. Carlos Cifuentes says, Augur is a horrible shooter, but his fruit helps him. I don't think he's a horrible shooter. The first thing we saw, I think Van Augur low-key still has the best sniping. He has the best sniping feat in the entire series, in that he sniped birds from an island, the island being Jaya, and he was so far away that the Strauds couldn't even see the island. So that's still technically the best sniping feat in the series. And this was before Van Augur probably had Haki, obviously his fruit, etc. Edwin Rodriguez, okay, Blackbeard negates negative side effects of Doc Q. See where I'm going now. Fruit users since we met them. I don't think. No, I don't think that's. I don't think that's the case. Maybe. Interesting though. Edwin Rodriguez says, I don't get why people think Blackbeard is stomping Law. Law is getting way better treatment than Boa, and even got called a Titan. He's still losing though. Yeah, I think that it's gonna be another case where Law loses, but Law is made to look good in some way. So I would like to see that. Hype Williams says, Jesus Burgess solos Law's entire crew. It's over. You wouldn't even need... Take whoever is the weakest member of Blackbeard's crew. They should solo Law's crew. Hybrid says Hypebird says, hey, Mob, matchups for Blackbeard and Straw Hat Pirates. So I used to think that Burgess would get enough of a buff that he would eventually be a good matchup for Sanji. Obviously, he was like losing to Sabo back in Dressrosa, but I was just like, well, it's Sabo, and I imagine Burgess will get much stronger over the course of the series as he gets his fruit and everything like that, right? He wasn't that far behind Sabo, I think, until Sabo got his fruit. I mean, Sabo wasn't having difficulty, but you get what I'm like. He was still like a fight for Sabo until Sabo got his fruit. When Sabo got his fruit, it was kind of just like rolling over Burgess, basically. But I'm saying, like, okay, so if Burgess also got a really strong fruit, then he can kind of keep scaling up or whatever and eventually potentially be a fight for Sanji. But at this point, I like the idea that he's a fight for Frankie. It fits better, and I think that Sanji gets a cooler fight against, like, potentially the captain that we have yet to see. Sampat Sakesh Revolprati says, first it was Big Mom resisting Law's Devil Fruit via Haki. Now Law resisting Doc Q's Devil Fruit via Haki. Is Oda laying out a future for, laying out an out for Luffy for the future Luffy versus Blackbeard fight? Yeah, again, I've got some fun ideas on how the Luffy versus Blackbeard fight will go. It does sound like, based on what Kaido said at the end of their fight, right? At the end of their fight, ultimately Haki is going to be the most important key to Luffy becoming Pirate King. The final fight that Luffy should have to become the king of the pirates, not necessarily the final fight of the series, it doesn't have to be that, but the final fight that he would have against a pirate would be Blackbeard. So I think Haki will be more important in that fight than in any other fight. Muhammad Issa says, it's possible this fight is happening on Whitebeard Island with Shanks and Marco nearby. That could be an out for Law and his backup dancers crew. Interesting. So it could be on Sphinx Island and then Marco's the out. But the thing is, Blackbeard is already, he's been down that road. He's fucked up Marco once in the past. So I think that, don't really know. Caleb Brown says, we could really use a full moon right now. Why? For Beppo? What would Beppo do with a full... Come on now. What would Beppo do with a full moon? I don't know if that's going to change anything. People are saying that Burgess wasn't keeping up with Sabo. No, he kind of was. I'm saying before the fruit, he factually kind of was. If you go read every panel, he was losing, but he wasn't getting like low diffed. He was getting like he basically couldn't beat Sabo clearly, but they were having like an equal clash at the center of this the Coliseum, etc. It just seemed that Sabo was an edge up, a tier up, basically. But it's not like crazy out of. He wasn't like. People are just Sabo fans. That's just all it is. People are just Sabo fans. If you go back and reread every panel of Burgess versus Sabo before Sabo got the fruit, it was being portrayed as though Burgess was a fight for Sabo. Not like a difficult fight for Sabo, but he was a fight for Sabo. That's just like a fact. I can pull up the panels right now if you want. Caleb Brown says we could really use it. Yeah, we got this. Hybrid says Burgess, Elbow, and Sanji New Clash. Low diff. I'm not coping. There's literally panels. Like there's factually panels. You want me to pull it up? Tanishk Parab. Thank you. Appreciate it. Tom says, I think Egghead is more similar to Punk Hazard than Zoe. Bonnie instead of Law, World Government / Marine Presence, and VP instead of Caesar. It depends in terms of how much this leads into like actual combat or whatever, or if the exposition is more important, basically. So, in kind of the length of the arc as well. Punk Hazard was a long arc, 50 chapters. This one, we're kind of getting into it like really, really quick. And I really like what Oda's been doing in the recent chapters, which is that we're getting to move along the Straw Hat stuff, but Oda's also giving us legitimately hype, exciting, I don't want to say twists, but like he's including exciting plot ingredients no matter what every chapter, if that makes sense. So like first chapter, obviously we get to see Vegapunk, but then the next chapter, it's like we're also getting Rob Lucci showing up, Seraphim Kuma, CP0 showing up, right? Then this chapter, yeah, we're getting part of it in Vegapunk's lab, but we're also kind of making sure to dedicate some pages to something really exciting actually happening, which is Law versus Blackbeard. So it really helps make it feel as though this is probably like one of the most exciting starts of an arc that we've ever had, just because the excitement's not tied to just what the Strahds happen to be doing within their location. Oda's kind of feeding us, every chapter he's feeding us something really juicy as well, separate from that. Which he didn't really do. He doesn't normally do that in most arcs, especially arcs that are set to be long. So, like, even a short arc like Zou, Oda really took his time getting to the juicy lore reveal stuff in Zou. He kind of wanted to keep it focused on the story. But then, even something like Wano, the first 10 chapters of Wano, Wano is a very, very meandering, slow start. I loved Act 1. Act 1's my favorite act out of Wano, out of all the Wano acts. And I like, in retrospect, that Oda keeps the story like that. But I'm just saying it's interesting that this is an arc that seems set to be very important exposition-wise. It's got a story with Vegapunk, Kuma, Bonnie, etc. But Oda's also not, like, pumping the brakes in terms of the juicy stuff that we also want, which is, like, fucking Law versus Blackbeard and what's happening at Whole Cake Island and stuff like that. Tanishq Parab, welcome to the Yonko. Sasjin, welcome to the Yonko. Sheriff Lafitte says, Aokiji is an interesting place. Helping Blackbeard get a poneglyph reader is an extreme move. Yeah, I think that's basically... There was a theory going for a while that Burgess was actually a three-eyed tribe member, but at this point I think that's dead. Dev Wheeler says Sabo was toying with him. This is getting ridiculous. Hyonta Shancho Yahuzagiri says, I'll take a constipated stronger over Lost Crew. I would agree. Isaiah Davis says, Buff plus Pegasus equals Hercules Elbaf is coming. Buff plus... Oh yeah, you're right. It's like Burgess and Pegasus are kind of like... it's kind of like Hercules. That's pretty interesting. That's funny. Selenia D. Napa says Sabo would destroy Burgess. Obviously, he would destroy Burgess. There's no question about that. That's, like, factually true. You guys think I'm saying that Sabo is equal to Burgess or something without the fruit? Obviously not. But I'm saying, what's the chapter? Someone give me the first chapter of the Colosseum fight starting. Probably 730-something. Dressrosa is one of the ones that I'm a little bit shakier on pulling up the initial panels and everything like that for, because Dressrosa, a lot of the shit really bleeds together, I swear. It's really, really crammed. Really, really crammed together. A lot of the stuff. Let me see. Got this shit over here. Okay, I think the fight starts around here. Here? Where the fuck does the fight start? I swear it's gotta be 730s or something like that. Oh, man. Diamante's ability is so shitty in compare. Like, he just so clearly does not belong with the rest of them. He's just so clear. Like, it's just, there's a big gap there. Big gap there. Okay, I think here we go. All right. Tell me that this, what is this panel? Let's see. Look, this is like factually true. All right, so Sabo comes. He's using a named move. In fact, his signature move, Dragon's Claw. Burgess is using his signature move, Wave Elbow. They clash. It's a clash. It's like, it's a clash. Burgess's armor breaks because Sabo is stronger, factually, but it's not like Burgess goes flying back or anything like that. Oh, sorry, because, yeah, Sabo's stronger, obviously. I never said Sabo's not stronger than Burgess. I'm just saying, like, you can look at it pretty straight up. Sabo's strong enough, he overpowers Burgess in the clash, but it's not like a huge gap there. It's not like a huge gap. Burgess's armor breaks. Sabo's stronger than Burgess, but it's not like Burgess goes flying back or something like that. This is similar to, like, Luffy versus Chinja, basically. Like, obviously, Luffy's stronger. I would say the gap between Sabo and Burgess is bigger than the gap was even between Luffy and Chinja. But, like, this is essentially what you expect out of a clash between a character who is stronger, but not, like, crazy stronger than the other character. That's pretty much it. It's not like Sabo's like goofing around or smiling or some shit. Like, this is a clash. That's what it is. So you're not handing it over that easily, eh? It's not like Sabo just walks over Burgess. And then later on, when Sabo gets, like, obviously Sabo is stronger. I'm not saying Sabo's not stronger, but like, you guys think Sabo's like some sort of a god? No, he's he was probably the strongest character on Dressrosa, obviously minus Fujitora, but if Fujitora even got mildly serious, Sabo would be done. Sabo's just a very popular character, and I think popular characters definitely skew how people view them. What do you guys want me to say? Ender, Ayanami, they're saying copium. I'm not coping. Like, that's how the fight, like, there's not much left to the rest of the fight. The rest of the fight is literally, I can show you the panels of the rest of the fight, but it's kind of boring. It's literally just Burgess throwing elbow moves, Sabo dodging elbow moves. Then Sabo uses Dragon's Breath and wins. Makes sense. If Sabo uses his strongest attack, he's going to beat Burgess. But in a standard clash, it's not like he overpowers Burgess that easily. And he literally says that it's not being handed over that easily. What do you guys want from me? Like, you guys want me to say, no, Sabo would like neg-div, low-div Burgess? Because that's literally not what happens. And Sabo literally says it's not going to be that easy. So I don't know what you guys want to say. You guys think Sabo's, I think, significantly stronger than he's actually shown to be. Chef Lafitte says Sabo could have beaten Sanji just as easily in Dressrosa as he did Burgess, so it doesn't disqualify Burgess from being Sanji's opponent. I would agree. 100% agree. Like, I think Sanji and Burgess over the course of the series can scale in the same manner. And Burgess could be a worthy endgame opponent for Sanji. Chris Oric says Frankie upgrade panel to Mega Cola in the background. Tim Tam says Hordy is analogous to Blackbeard from a design perspective. Chapter 631 wakes up with white hair and red eyes. So you think that that's the final form of Blackbeard? You guys are just saying L take because you like Sabo a lot. I don't know what to say. You can link together all of the panels of Sabo versus Burgess. There's not a lot. The one that shows us the most information is their initial clash. There's not much more to the fight than that, and we basically, like, the initial clash is pretty much exactly how I described it. I'm sorry, it's not an L take just because it's like not worshiping at the altar of Sabo. I'm sorry that the manga just shows something different than what you feel is reality. Mr. Mareep says you aren't coping in my heart, Morge. I appreciate that. Sheriff Lafitte says Sabo was still injured weeks after Marie Joie 2. Not even Green Bull was injured anymore. Lol. And keep in mind with the Marie Joie, well, we don't know who Sabo ran into over the course of Marie Joie, right? But keep in mind, Sabo had himself and the 3 other revolutionary commanders versus 2 admirals, so it's already 4v2, and it was explicitly stated that the admirals were holding back. So it's like, what do you want to say? As far as we know, Sabo's not really close to the admirals, basically. He might get an upgrade by the end of the story. I think end of story Sabo, especially if he gets Devil Fruit Awakening, stuff like that. I mean, he's going to be one of the most important characters in the story, so he's probably going to be a lot stronger once he gets some upgrades or something like that. But at the moment, like, he's never been portrayed to be that strong. Cigarveric says, yeah, like Fujitora and Green Bull ended Sabo. I mean, they're holding back. Like, what do you want me to say? They're holding back. Like, that's also, I'm pretty sure that's, like, canonically confirmed, right? Lego Rover says Sabo's taking an Admiral to mid-diff. Yeah. I'd say, again, I think that the Sabo that we get at the end of the story will probably be very, very, very strong. Like, there's no, again, like, look at how much Luffy improved over the course of Wano, right? Over the course of Wano, Luffy went from being first mate level to Yonko level, right? Oda can easily say some stuff happens off screen, get Sabo there by the end of the story. Because Sabo is ultimately, he's Luffy's older brother. He's supposed to be very strong in the grand scheme of things, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if, like, the next time we see Sabo, he's really strong. I'm just calling it like I see it based on, like, the Sabo we've seen so far. Hold on. Sampath Sakesh Ravolapathy says, Law mentions teleportation as one of the powers Blackbeard's crew has. Who could it be? Burgess, because he appeared near Mountain. Isn't it Van Augur? Blackbeard, who appeared atop Stronger. Isn't it Van Augur? The JM Liu 11 says, can we say that Bonnie has had more chemistry with the Strats and more characterization in 3 chapters than Yamato did in over 60 in Wano? Yeah, I don't think that's unfair, but that's not a high bar. It's not a high bar whatsoever. Right, it's just Yamato, right? Come on now. How was the chapter? I thought it was a really good chapter. I thought it was a really, really good chapter. Dev Wheeler says, uh-oh, Yamato hating weirdos are back. Time out 1 second. This is so bizarre. What type of backwards world are we in where hating Yamato makes you a weirdo? No. If you enjoyed the character who literally was introduced out of the blue, zero narrative setup, zero purpose in the story, out of the blue, in the final battle, right? Nowhere over this course of the setup of the arc, right? In the final battle, she was introduced. Has zero personality or character whatsoever, aside from wanting to literally be a character that she read about in a journal in a prison that she lived in all her life, basically. That's her whole character. And her only dialogue for the rest of the arc is basically saying that she wants to be that character, and every motivation is based on the belief that this is what that character would do. And that's what she says the entire arc. And she also says that she's going to join the crew the entire arc because that's what this other character would do, and then ultimately does not join the crew, basically meaning that she had zero reason for existing in the story in the first place. It is not weird to dislike that character. Let's be very clear here. If you like Yamato, that is weird. This is so bad. This is the upside down world. Khalid Al-Turki says, oh no, welcome to the Supernova, I appreciate it. That being said, we don't have to keep harping on Yamato. I didn't bring her up. The people brought her up. But to come in here and be like, oh, Yamato haters are weird. No, Yamato simps are weird. It is bizarre that people can have that low stand. Like, what? M says, the fact that Burgess and Augur have very simple Devil Fruit powers after 20 years of One Piece shows that Oda planned them from the start. Honestly, most Devil Fruit powers are pretty simple. Most Devil Fruit powers are pretty simple. It's like, what Oda does with them gets very complicated, right? The Door Fruit is a great example of that. Like, most Devil Fruits are fairly simple in concept. It's stuff like Laws that's the rarity that has a lot to it, right? There's stuff like Laws, Doflamingos, and stuff where it's a lot more than you would like, the fruit is a complex idea, but most fruits, for the most part, like, you know, magnetism, that's pretty straightforward. Most Logias, etc., pretty straightforward. I think that most Devil Fruit, because like most Devil Fruits, the way that they're designed, right, is to be a single concept, right? Like the Fire Fruit, right? The Door Fruit, right? The Explosion Fruit. Devil Fruits, in general, are fairly simple concepts, I think. Hybrid says, Mord, you missed my super chat before. Also, wait, let me double check, make sure I didn't miss any supers. You missed my super chat before. Also, Yamato, annoying character. I think her thinking she's Odin is disrespectful for what Odin actually was. True. It's disrespectful to Odin. And I like Odin as a character. Let's not forget that. It's disrespectful to Odin. Let's just throw that into the list of grievances. It's disrespectful to Odin. I don't really care that much about that, even though I like Odin, but I'm happy to add in another drop into the Yamato critique bucket. Charlotte Katakuri says, bro, you missed my previous super chat. All right, let me catch up. I might have missed some supers while I was ranting about stuff. Let me make sure. Sheriff Lafitte says, Aokiji's in an interesting place, helping Blackbeard get a poneglyph reader. I don't know, we covered this. Jay Western, thank you. Titanium Dragon says, will the Blackbeard pirates each have more than one devil fruit? Will the Blackbeard pirates each have more than one devil fruit? I think that's only a Blackbeard thing. I think there's characters like Shiryu who could have a devil fruit and then also their weapon eats a devil fruit. Stuff like that could happen. But aside from that, the reason Blackbeard's able to eat multiple fruits, it seems specific to him. And I think Oda might keep it specific to him. Guardian Tree says, Usopp versus Lucci because of his lie at Enies Lobby. I don't know. There's like... I think that the Usopp's lies always coming true thing has been debunked at this point. Usopp said that he took out 2 Toby Roppo, for example, and then he never did that. I don't know. I don't know if all of Usopp's claims actually turn into the truth. Charlotte Katakuri says, after this, it's clear that Bonnie's definitely joining the crew. Showing her vulnerabilities like this early on is Strat material, example, Brooke, etc. I'm past the point of saying that, like, this character, that character is definitely going to join the crew. I think Rebecca was in a similar spot early on when we met her. I think we've seen this song and dance a few times, right? So I'm not quite there. Hybrid says EOS Zoro versus EOS Sabo. Look, my bias goes towards Zoro, but I wouldn't be surprised if EOS Sabo. Let's just be clear about that. My bias goes towards Zoro. I wouldn't be surprised if Oda has Sabo right there at the end, though. Again, I'm not trying to hate on Sabo. I'm just like saying like we can fairly put into perspective where his strengths seem to be at in Dressrosa, right? It's clearly stronger than Luffy, Doflamingo, etc. Below someone like Fujitora. I mean, that seems pretty fair, right? That's all I'm saying. Chris Oric says Frankie upgrade panel to Mega Cola in the background. What? What are you saying? That sounds like crazy talk. Frankie upgrade what? I don't even know what this means. Mega Cola? What is that? I don't understand the statement. Tim Tam said, no, we covered this. Okay, I think we're all good. Think we're all good. Sorry about the 2 supers that I missed. I caught them now. Sheriff Lafitte says, Lady Law has the most realistic proportions Oda has drawn in a while. That might be true. Wait, can we talk about this for a second? Can we talk about the female Law thing for a second? Because, like, this is definitely... How do I say this? So, his actual fruit, Dakyu's actual fruit is the 6-6 fruit, right? The 6-6 fruit... the 6-6 fruit... It does diseases and stuff, okay? This is by far one of the strangest uses you would ever expect out of it, and it's for such a one-off moment, like it's for one page. This feels like the most pure, like this feels like a very clear-cut example of fan service, right? Like the only reason that you would have him first showcase his fruit like this, and not something, typical that you would expect of diseases like, I don't know, like spots all over your face or lost skin turning all like ashy or something like that, or him coughing up blood or something. No, it's this. This is pure fan service. I would not be surprised if Daikyu never uses this ability like this again, and in the future we see more combat-oriented uses. This is purely just like Oda being like, I'm going to give some of those readers what they want. Gender-bent Law. Let's let them have it. Like... Am I crazy? This seems really blatantly just like an excuse to go out of his way to draw gender-bent Law, right? I swore that Ivankov would be in this chapter because I was like, it just makes sense. But no, this is weirdly a disease. Polarman says, imagine making a character who wants to be a walking L like Odin. Like, Odin is the literal definition of a walking L. Hey, come on now. Let's lay off Odin. He made some remarkably, insanely stupid decisions, but... yeah. I think Odin's still a cool guy. M says, I guess I should mean basic devil fruits instead of simple like strength and teleportation or stuff that should have been much earlier in the story. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I know. That's a really good point. That's a really good point. Like, those are basic concepts that, as a writer that's coming up with abilities, you'd probably think of those fairly early on. So you think of those fairly early on, you're like, okay, well, I want to save these match up the concepts of these down the line characters I have, therefore I'm going to save them. Makes sense. That's a really good point. Drek the Drek says, and people only hate Carrot because she's a rabbit woman. No one had a problem with the fish people. Heck, mermaids are lusted after by everyone. Hey, I hated Jinbei for a while. Don't say no one had problem with the fish people. Mermaids are lusted after by everyone. Yeah, the mermaids being sexy is just, it's never made sense to me because obviously the top is sexy, right? But it's just like, if you really think about it, like, and this isn't the first time someone's made that observation. I've seen this bit done in Family Guy and stuff like that, but it's just like, mermaids are literally half as good as normal women, right? Like, that's just, it's literally half as good as a normal woman, right? How is it? It just doesn't make sense. Also, real mermaids are based off of manatees, as far as I know. Let me read this. Mermaids were manatees, right? Mermaids were manatees. Centuries ago, manatees were mistaken for mermaids, the half-woman, half-fish creature of legend. The confusion may seem absurd now, but back then little was known of the sea beasts that live in the ocean. So I don't really know how that happened, because it just doesn't, because I've seen manatees in real life. Like, they don't look like women, and they actually don't look attractive at all. They just look like weird, like, sea monsters, basically. So I don't know if I buy this manatee explanation either. Maybe mermaids are real. I personally prefer to believe that a lot of these things, you know, the Loch Ness Monster, mermaids, Atlantis, these are all based off of things that were once a thing, and then, I don't know, over time they went away. But I also know that that's just not true. When I was a kid, I read a book about the Loch Ness Monster, and it was like a historical, it was like a compilation of all of the sightings of the Loch Ness Monster and all the experiments done to try and find out if it was real or not. So it was a compilation of all this, and I read through basically like this was the first sighting, and this was the first time they got a good camera on it, and this was the first time someone really did like a sonar test, etc. basically. And then finally got to the end of the book, and it basically said like, and then with this final experiment, they did it. They proved that that Nessie is alive, that the Loch Ness Monster is a real thing. The world rejoiced, etc. basically, and now everybody accepts that the Loch Ness Monster is real. So that was what I read at the end of the book. This was like a fully factual nonfiction book or whatever. So I finished this book under the impression that, oh, shit, the Loch Ness Monster, they proved it's real. One Wikipedia search later, and it was just like, no, that's not true. The book literally made up some sort of weird fairy tale ending for no reason after compiling like all of this factual experiments that were done on the Loch Ness Monster. It's kind of like if you did like a documentary on like flat earthers, like compiled all the instances of people trying to test whether the earth is flat or not, and then you just made up some fairy tale ending where it's like, and then through magic they realized that the earth was in fact flat, and then everybody clapped, and then nobody made fun of flat earthers again. And then that was just how you ended this book. Anyway, Bobby D. Blizzard says he meant Vega Cola. What? Oh, he's gonna get Vegapunk Cola? Is Vegapunk's Cola better than normal? Khaled, what if Vegapunk stuff also runs on Cola? That'd be hilarious. Khaled Al-Turkey, thanks. Roxy Ariti says, I'm sick with womanhood, I guess. Okay. Keenan says, Morge, who is badder, female Law or Bonnie? I have to say Bonnie. And I'm also not joking. Because Bonnie, I'm just gonna say, the Bonnie Germa, the Bonnie Germa outfit, not Germa, the Vegapunk outfit. Sorry, you understand the similarities. This is, I like her normal design, but I will be very happy if she's in this for the rest of the arc. Oh, shit. How many supers did I miss just now while talking about the Loch Ness Monster? Hold on. You guys have to forgive my tangents. Okay, Morge Unleashed needs some content. Oh, wait. Let me link you guys to Morge Unleashed. If you guys enjoy the streams, oh, we actually had like a full tournament arc a second ago on Morge Unleashed, figuring out the best character design in One Piece. If you guys like the streams, if you like tuning into the streams, if you like doing the stream stuff, then go to Morge Unleashed. which has all of the best of the stream stuff, but better because it's got editing and all sorts of funny edits and all of that shit in it. Morge Unleashed is the best Morge channel by far. Where are we at? Joao Jr. says, we all know you want to just talk about Fem Beppo. Fem Beppo is hilarious. It's literally just Beppo with hair. Tom says, imagine Doc Q uses the Oni virus against Chopper lol. Doc Q could he go cure the smile stuff? The Oni virus against Chopper though, it's just like, fuck, how did he know the one weakness of the Oni virus was ice? Hybrid says, Fem Beppo body pillow. It's basically just a Beppo body pillow. Polar Man says, wanting to do a mermaid is just as bad as wanting to do speed. I think you guys unanimously voted in chat that one time that most of you would fuck speed. So I guess that's where you guys are at. Bingle the Oop says, so all the One Piece moms are dead because they had the female disease. I guess so. I think that, like, one thing I'll say about this is that I get that Oda's pushing the Haki beats Devil Fruits thing now, but I don't like that it's that easy. Like, how do I say this? We always understood the concept that Haki can counter Devil Fruits, right? That was explained to us. But I didn't realize that it was true. I think the Big Mom incident, where Law couldn't move Big Mom and Kaido, that was the first time I realized that it was clear that, okay, even this weird hacks stuff does not work on characters like that are very, very strong, like a Kaido and Big Mom. So even this hack stuff doesn't really work just like that easily. But then I just don't, it's tricky because it's like, where's the line exactly? Like, I thought that that's something that would come up in the series very rarely when Oda just has to give an explanation of why something just doesn't work. But this is the first time where it's just like, okay, no, like, a very standard Devil Fruit ability that we would normally expect to work on characters just doesn't anymore. So to me, that throws into question things like, okay, so would Perona's fruit no longer work on characters because of Haki? Sugar no longer work on characters because of Haki? And it also makes me a little confused about certain things, which is like, so Law can't teleport Kaido and Big Mom. His room doesn't work on them like that. But then he can use things like Gamma Knife on them, fine. He can use things like, K-Room on them, fine. So, I don't know. I get that it's important to just not have Hack's abilities run rampant and still make, Haki ultimately be able to trump those things so that, like, top-tier characters don't just lose to random bullshit. But at the same time, this disease situation is kind of something that I would expect is not just cancelable by Devil Fruit, or not just cancelable by Haki. But, like, it's one of those abilities that you would just accept that, okay, yeah, this would obviously actually work on a character, right? Like, this isn't something that Haki could actually counter, but turns out that even this is something that Haki can counter. I don't know how I feel about that per se. I get it. Again, you don't just want to have random bullshit take out top tier characters, but like it does change a lot about how I view Devil Fruits going forward. Like, this was a bigger wake-up call to me than Law not being able to move Kaido and Big Mom, I think. Because this is a much more the disease fruit just seems like a fruit that you wouldn't, like, a disease doesn't seem like something you'd be able to counter with Haki, but it is, apparently. And Law's Haki isn't even that good. Like, I can understand Kaido and Big Mom. Those are the big, like, they're top 4 Haki users in the entire series or whatever. But if it turns out just any Haki user, like, Law's not even a Conqueror's Haki user, and he can just counter it. So, like, okay. IDK says, only reason I think Yamato joins. I do think Yamato could join. I do think Yamato can join now. I actually think that there's a decent chance that Yamato joins now because of what I wanted in the first place, which was that she needs to have some sort of a arc that gets her there. She has to first believe that she's, like, there needs to be something holding her back first so that she can go through something which turns her into a proper Straw Hat crew member. So I think Yamato could join. And I hope that her character, there's more to it next time we get back to her. Like, it's entirely possible we finish One Piece and Yamato is one of my favorite characters by the end of One Piece. I'm just saying whatever the fuck she was in Wano and whatever she didn't add anything to Wano. If anything, she hurt most of that story arc in my opinion. So, like, I can still dislike what she was and how she was used in Wano. So only reason I think Yamato joins is because she's a good matchup for Katarina Devon, Devil Fruit wise, and her nickname is Crescent Moon Hunter. That's an interesting point. I always felt like Katarina Devon is a really good matchup for Robin, just because it's difficult to write good fights for Robin, because Robin's ability inherently, it's kind of like either she's able to restrain you in a pretty straightforward manner, or there's some specific reason she can't use her ability on you, right? Be that if the character's a Logia, be that the character's too physically strong to be restrained, something like that. So Robin, it's hard to write good fights. Katarina Devon is kind of the perfect matchup for Robin to get a good fight out of, because shapeshifting is like the sort of natural counter to Robin's abilities, but it's not something that Robin can't overcome. Robin would just have to be very creative and kind of get to another level with her usage of her powers. So I've always felt Katarina Devon makes for a great matchup with Robin, just because Robin could be continually trying to restrain her, catch her in some sort of trap or something like that with her limbs, etc. Whereas Katarina Devon would be able to quickly, she can do so much, right? She can become a spiked creature, she can become a winged creature, she can become a giant creature, things like that. It would be interesting to see those powers play back and forth. Japanese Jim says, LMAO bro, just read chapter, Law confirmed dead. M says, since Blackbeard is getting an entire crew of just Devil Fruit users, foreshadows that his crew will drown and a story because none of his crew members can swim and save anyone. You're saying they can't save each other? It's probably true. Hybrid says, what if Zoro switches genders and Sanji's there? I think that in that case, Sanji's dislike for Zoro would be so strong that it would be one of the rare cases that he actually doesn't feel anything. Lady Hero says, I get it. Affecting their opponents with the female disease, they're helpless and halves their strength. So the Blackbeard pirates can take a person's Devil Fruit. Since they don't have to take on their enemies at max power, it all comes together. I guess so, but couldn't he just use like a normal disease instead of just being like, well, you're a girl now, so now you're like way weaker, I guess. Couldn't you just use like a normal debilitating disease? Use that sickness that they used to kill all of Law's hometown. Khalid Al-Turki says, you missed Pudding's being kidnapped in the cover page. Yeah, I understand that now. I think I literally didn't get it initially. I think the outcome of this Blackbeard versus Law clash will be Blackbeard getting load poneglyphs plus Law losing his crew. I don't think Law's crew is going to die. That's crazy. Law's crew is so adorably helpless and stupid that I think killing them would be crazy. But I could see Blackbeard getting the load poneglyph from the things we've talked about so far. Blackbeard getting the road poneglyph, potentially some insight into what makes Blackbeard's body weird if Law's ability is not working on him. Potentially Law getting captured, or some more insight on the Rocky Port incident through some interaction with him, Blackbeard, or him, Kobe, something like that. Haritz Andika Nugroho says, Doc Q flying while giving diseases sounds scary as fuck. It would be really, really cool. Doc Q is always one of my favorites of Blackbeard's crew. So was Lafitte. So Sheriff Lafitte says, why didn't Chinjao and Cavendish counter Sugar's powers with Haki? That's the thing. It's kind of just like, it doesn't really make a ton of sense to me, like where the line is. Like, it just seemed, again, even with the Law and Kaido Big Mom example, it wasn't clear why can't he teleport them, but then he can do other things to them. I don't know. I'm perfectly fine with the idea that I always understood it as though in like my initial understanding when Haki was explained to us, and then as like the initial examples that we saw of it playing out, right, was that Haki works really well as a sort of armor, invisible armor that allows you to basically in head-to-head confrontations counter Devil Fruit abilities, right? So that counts like when you're hitting a Logia or Doflamingo trying to use his strings on you or something, you can block that, etc., because you've got this invisible armor that will allow you to in head-on confrontations counter Devil Fruit abilities. Then we get to the rooftop. I think that's the first time we really get to see that you can straight up not like Haki as a sort of passive, just like a passive counter almost. Like you literally can't even, a Devil Fruit has no effect on you if you've got Haki around. If you've just got Haki that's too strong or something. And then this is the first time I've seen that something that it's not even it's not even like a direct, like Law's body's been infected with a disease here as far as we understand, right? It's been infected with a disease. Where is he even, he's not creating an invisible, like is the Haki just flowing through him and just destroying all Devil Fruit effects within him? Like an invisible armor doesn't really make sense to me countering this, but I'm probably overthinking it is probably the answer. And the reality is that Oda's basically just saying, okay, understand that Devil Fruits are strong, but Haki trumps Devil Fruits in most cases. Again, the sugar, It's just I don't get when he's going to decide that this is a case that Haki trumps versus this is a case that it doesn't. Again, the Sugar Chinjao example seems really good because Sugar, as we understand, is probably a very, very, very weak case. She's literally the capabilities of a little girl, right? She's a very weak character. So someone like Chinjao, who's a Conqueror's Haki user, at least comparable to pre-Gear 4th Luffy, right? Should be like miles above her, etc. He can't counter her with Haki. It's interesting to see. Caleb Brown says, if we're seeing Law, there's a chance we see Kid next. I would love to see Kid next because I think that this could be leading to the next time us seeing Kid being tied to all of this with the man with, you know, flames, etc. Danny Fenton. What a throwback. Danny Phantom was a solid show. Law using Haki to physically change his body back from female to male makes Diablo Jambe and other earlier feats more tangible. Establishes Haki can affect physiology, possibly temporary, possibly vision. Yeah. Arepe16 says, how many road poneglyphs does Law have? I forget. 3? 2? Felix C says, Mr. Law Hater Morge is probably geeking. Does he only have 1? I gotta reread that chapter where they divvied up the poneglyphs with those guys, which was ridiculous. They shouldn't have done that. Does he only have the one from Kaido, or did Luffy give all of them? I forget. That's an important bit of information. Felix C says, Mr. Law Hater is probably geeking out over this chapter. No, I think this next chapter is set up for Law to probably not look bad. I think Law will probably look good this next chapter. Blackbeard will just look better, but I think it'll be sort of like, I don't know, Oda plays these scenarios where lots of times he doesn't make like one character just look like a scrub. They get outclassed, but they have a good showing. I think this will be like that. So if anything, maybe I have to start giving Law some respect after next chapter. We'll see. I'll be very happy if I'm wrong and Law just gets trashed next chapter, because then that goes with what I've been saying. But it seems like Oda actually might be setting him up to actually have an impressive 1v1 or something. Honestly, again, like 1v4, there's a lot of Blackbeard Pirate members here. Trinity of the Phoenix says, imagine if Zoro's gender swap was permanent. We'd get the strong female crew member we always wanted, and Sanji would forever be conflicted with Zoro. I think Sanji would just never forget how he views Zoro at his heart. Mr. Crescent says, could Blackbeard have the missing... I don't think Sanji could fight Zoro anymore. Sanji wouldn't be able to fight Zoro anymore, but I think Sanji would still just dislike Zoro. Mr. Crescent says, could Blackbeard have the missing road poneglyph, making him and his crew the final obstacle before Raft Hill, or even have them get there before the Straw Hats? I think that would be cool. I definitely think that would be cool. I also like the idea that the final road poneglyph is at Elbaf, so that gives them a reason to go to Elbaf, and that, you know, it just makes everything sort of link up to a confrontation there, specific location. Shiv Patel says, do you think Oda is still the king of world building after Wano? Also, do you still plan on doing a Wano analysis? Yes, the Wano... Okay, so 2 things. Wano has nothing to do with world building, really. Like, in terms of my opinions of Wano, don't have any bearing on my opinion on One Piece's world building. If anything, Wano added more to One Piece lore, more history to the One Piece world. Doesn't really change anything there. That doesn't change any. I still think One Piece is the best world building in manga, unless there's, you know, people have told me there's certain things like Tower of God or something. But I still think One Piece is the best world building in manga. The Wano analysis is a big project, and it's taking some time. Part of it is that there's another big project that I'm working on at the same time that you guys will see in 2 weeks. So it's written 50%. I'd say it's written 50%. It's coming. It's coming. I'd rather it be good than me just try and get it out sooner than later. Hybrid says, theory, Docu started a COVID-19 in One Piece, and everyone wears masks, and everywhere in the world comes together, which becomes the One Piece. COVID-19 jokes. No offense, I liked your joke. It was very good. I'm so sick of hearing COVID. Just the name. Like, not that I'm, it's just, obviously it's serious, etc. It's just that, like, it's just been such a thing for so long. It's just been such a thing for so long that I'm just tired of hearing COVID. In things that I don't, like, I don't want to be thinking about COVID while I'm reading One Piece, you know what I'm saying? Carrot Mealis says, what if you confuse Haki into Devil Fruits, or even use Conqueror's Haki to conquer Devil Fruits' weaknesses that take away the user's swimming? I really, really hope that Haki does not... I like the fact that the ocean is and always seems to be, like, no matter how strong you get, the ocean is a counter to Devil Fruit users. I just like that. I like that aspect of One Piece. It's just, it feels like a very... Because it's not like a debilitating weakness, right? Most fights happen on land. I just like that there's this random handicap that they have if they, or like this random weakness that could affect them in certain scenarios or whatever, but it almost never comes up in fights. So I would not want that to go away for characters. I like the fact that there's like, you know, random gags and jokes you can get out of like Devil Fruit users falling overboard and stuff like that, you know. Oh yeah, let me ask. Since AJ's bringing up new wall, new sweater. No, the sweater's not new. I just don't normally wear it because my walls were white, so it's like it just blends in to the background. Now I can wear it freely. Reading the Reddit theory. Oh, don't worry. I'll read the Reddit theory. I'll read the Reddit theory. That's happening. But how do we feel about the room? You guys like the room? I almost don't want to paint that part of it, the door part, but I guess I have to. Nando TNT 567 says Devil Fruits might be more magical than we think, which is why Haki is the counter, plus the disease seems to be a prototype, and Doc tests them. More magical than we think. I hope we never get a real explanation of what Devil Fruits are, because I don't need it. I kind of like them. I just like that it exists in the world. Doc's testing his diseases. Interesting. Lord Chunga says, what if we misheard Whitebeard and he said One Piece is eel? Flash forward, Straw said Laughdale. Finally, the One Piece. It's just a grumpy eel in a barrel. That would explain why Roger laughed, I guess. Paint the door. I'll paint the door. Black might be too much. This was supposed to be gray, but it turned out to be dark gray. You know what's funny? It's whatever. It's whatever. M says that eel joke was terrible. Yeah, I guess so. It's Tony Santana says the room contrasts well with your shirt, so I guess wear brights and white from now on. I think I have a darker... Overall, I have like a darker wardrobe than anything else. So we'll see how it goes. Also doesn't help that my chair is black. You know what? Black on black is still looks good, I guess. AJK says, Morge, when will you do it, man? Maybe before next week's stream. Maybe. King Shuk Datta says, Morge, thoughts on our cockpiece? That's... There's a Reddit for everything, huh? Yeah, now the tricky thing is I have to get wooden shelves so that the shelves don't look like they don't like, what do you call? They don't blend in or whatever. Anyway, all right, we're going to call the stream in a few minutes. I think that's basically it. Is that a painting or panel behind you, says Jig? 209194. Looks like a cubicle panel type thing, lol. No, it's just paint. It's just paint. There's decor and stuff going on it. Just got to decide. Pick and choose what I want to keep. Sheriff Lafitte's asking, think a Westbrook trade happens? I don't know who would take him. I just don't think anyone's going to take him. Also, I kind of want him to stay on the team. Even though I think it makes the team shitty. And I want the Lakers to do well. I want Westbrook to stay just because I'd feel too bad. I would literally feel too bad for that. I wasn't even like a Russell Westbrook fan. I would just literally feel too bad if they traded Westbrook and then suddenly started doing way better. I mean, like, say what you will about Russell Westbrook, but like his legacy is taken and all, like it's brutal to watch hit over the last year, basically. It's just like they're too mean to him, I think. AJK says, imagine if I get sick or die before you read it. Never thought about that. Come on, man. Well, I don't want to laugh about that, AJK, but that seems like a very extreme place to jump to for this. I'll think about it. I might speed up the timeline for it. Thoughts on Trae Young? He's a good player. Don't have much to say. I don't think he'll ever be like a top 5-ish player or something, but he'll probably be like a top 10 player at some point. Sampath Sakesh Revolparthi says, do you think Usopp will ever get rid of Kabuto? He's been stuck with it since the time skip. I'm hoping he gets some needed love in Egg Island. Thoughts? Okay, am I crazy, or is Usopp's new fighting style not that good? Like, I thought he'd get some. His buff was observation. Sorry, his buff was observation Haki, but I liked what he was working with earlier, which was just more like explosive, like more. I guess you could say fire, gunpowder, stuff like that was more commonplace, but he also had like a greater variety, like, you know, random stuff, hammers, like fake insects, like. And I get that for the New World, you need a more streamlined, like, actual fighting style. So all the stuff he's doing with plants, it's got the variety. It's just plants. But, like, it just felt very random that it's like, yeah, now Usopp fights with plants. Everybody else, it felt like they were growing on what they were already doing, right? So Nami's weather manipulation improved. Chopper's transformation and his ability to control transformations improved. Zoro's swordsmanship, Sanji's kicks, etc., blah, blah, blah. Frankie got better tech. Usopp just got plants. It's weird to me that's... It just never felt to me like I still don't think of Usopp as the plant guy. It's still weird to me that he fights with plants. I don't know. Nando TNT567 says, like, devil fruits change reality and Haki brings it back. Oh, I see what you're saying. But, like, it's also kind of like some devil fruits, they just, like, shoot fire and stuff like that. Is that changing reality necessarily? I don't think so. John Woo says he had OP utility belt like Batman. Yeah, and that can only get you so far when you're fighting against, you know, the characters that you're fighting against. It's just, what I mean is that I just never felt like plants fit Usopp's persona. They make sense for his fighting style because it adds a sense of versatility to his fighting. Like, the plants can do so many things, but it just doesn't. One, it doesn't feel that strong inherently. And two, it just doesn't fit his persona to me personally. Mr. Munchie says, I completely forgot about the plans, to be honest, lol. Usopp also hasn't gotten it's interesting, he hasn't gotten a good post-time skip fight. That was one of the most disappointing parts of Wano to me, was for sure that Usopp didn't get a good fight, because when Usopp gets his fights, they're always really, really good. They're always some of my favorite fights in the series. Like, when Usopp actually gets a fully dedicated fight, because you can always expect really good character work out of it. I think more so and with more consistency than the other Straw Hats fights. It's one of the fights, like, just because of the nature of how Usopp fights, there's always more strategy involved than the other Straw Hats fights. And again, just like the way Usopp acted that entire arc and like how much he was kind of dragged through the dirt in terms of how his character was. I was really hoping for a good fight for him at the end of that arc. So at this point, Usopp's gone like a long, long time without getting a good fight. I hope Elbaf will have to be a good one, because Usopp fights are really good. I hope that he gets one soon. All right, guys. It is 12:30 EST. I am probably going to call it in 1 second. Let me see if there's one more question I might answer. Maybe a normal question. Thoughts on Dame Lillard? I always personally felt like Dame was overrated. Now let's see how he does this next season, because he underperformed for sure last season. I understand he was going not the best season to judge him off of or whatever, but I've always felt Dame Lillard is overrated. So I don't mind if he doesn't do well again. And he, like, the loyalty shit just gets to, after a certain point, it stops being, like, it's just like, okay, dude, shut up about it. That's basically it. Anyway, all right. I will talk to you all later. Tune in for Monday's stream. Oh, Martin Castro says, shout out to Oda. He's clearly trying to end the series as soon as possible, but nothing has felt rushed so far. Yeah, that's the last thing I'll end the stream on. Oh, and my thoughts on Amsa. I'll mention that. Martin Castro, so he's clearly trying to end the series, but not rushing. Yeah, I've loved the start of this arc. I really, really love the start of this arc. I think everything since we left Wano has been great, but I like that it didn't just stop after the outside world segments ended. I like that as soon as Egghead Island started. Again, I mentioned this earlier, but you don't see this that often where Oda is, like, usually at the beginning of an arc, Oda's keeping things relatively simple, Straw Hat focused, letting the pieces kind of be set up or whatever. But we're getting that, right? We're getting our time with the Straw Hats interacting with Bonnie, getting to really understand Vegapunk's lab and what, how that feels, what Vegapunk can do, etc. Getting the lay of the land, etc. But at the same time, Oda's making sure to add exciting elements in very, very quickly, right? So CP0 right off the bat. Blackbeard and Law, why are we getting to see that fight? This is not normal. We would not normally be getting to see glimpses of Blackbeard versus Law at the end of chapters, at the beginning of arcs where the Straw Hats are at a new island, right? Like, this is a totally unrelated fight. This is something that you would expect during the in-between sections, right? The world-building sections between arcs. You would not expect Oda to be also feeding us this type of stuff just for free while, like, an actual main character storyline is going on. That's not normal. So I'm really, really happy that that's the new route that he's kind of going with. Who knows how long that's going to be sustained, but I'm happy that that's kind of how, at the very least, it seems like we're going to get to see a bit more of it the next chapter, right? How Law versus Blackbeard plays out. So yeah, it's just cool that I like this approach a lot. It feels like there's not going to be, it genuinely feels like there's not going to be a dull moment for the rest of One Piece. That's not to say that we're not going to have some chapters where it just has to be like pure single arc setup or something, like focusing on probably some conversation with Bonnie or Vegapunk. But like even stuff like that's very interesting because it's learning more about Bonnie and Vegapunk and Kuma and characters that we've really, really wanted to know for the longest time, right? Like these aren't random characters or anything. So it's not like we're, being introduced to, and to be clear, I like Act 1 of Wano a lot, right? But I'm just saying, like, so for example, in Act 1 of Wano, you're meeting characters like Tama, Hitetsu, Kiku. You don't really know any of the, like, you have no context or anything like that. Like, you're really, really, really learning, from ground one. Okay, so I've got to start being attached to these characters. I'm kind of getting to understand where we're at, starting to see the bigger picture of the story. But this is very different in that, like, the characters that we're going to be meeting from here on out, for the most part, are going to be characters that we've wanted to meet and talk to for a long, long time, right? Vegapunk, Bonnie, Kuma, obviously, but then who's around the corner? We want to see Tashigi again. We want to see Helmeppo again. We want to see these other sword members. We want to learn what they're about. We want to get back to Kobe, right? So, I don't know. I think that I'm very, very, very optimistic for the rest of One Piece from here on out. Like, if we're getting more chapters kind of structured like this, where almost everything that almost every character that we run into is an interesting character. Almost every scene that we cut away to is going to be an exciting or interesting scene between characters that we've wanted to see for the longest time that have been kind of being held off on. I think that that's a really, really great outlook for the rest of the story. Sampat Sakesh Revolperti says, what if Usopp gets Mjolnir in Elbaf? Yeah, I've heard people talk about that. I've seen those theories and stuff like that. I think that's interesting. That would be a good way to mix up his fighting style for the endgame of the series. Let's see. Jalen Harden says Usopp truly could possibly have Conqueror's Haki. Yeah, I think that's definitely a strong possibility. I think that he could definitely unlock that in a big show. I'm sure that Usopp's got something really, really good in store for him by the end of the series and hopefully by Elbaf. It's still just at the same time, it's like the last time Usopp truly got a good fight was Perona, and that was Perona. Think about that. That's crazy. Perona was probably around chapter 460 or something like that, right? And now we're at 1060. It's been more than half the series since Usopp got a good fight. 600 chapters. That's crazy, right? 600 chapters since Usopp got a good fight. And that's just a shame because Usopp gets, in my opinion, again, the most consistently good Straw Hat fights, the most consistently memorable Straw Hat fights. So that's a shame. Again, I think he got a great moment in Dressrosa. I wouldn't really call it a fight. Again, what he did against Sugar was a really good sniping moment. So that's something. And that's something that is, really, really, I think that's really good, even comparative to anything else that he's done fight-wise throughout the series or whatever. But in terms of like a real back and forth fight, it's been 600 chapters. It's kind of crazy. Jalen Harden says Oda drew him making 2 people foam at the mouth. What are you talking about? Oh, making... yeah, but he doesn't have that ability just yet. I think he could get it by the end of the story. Aliotho5 says, I feel like Joy is not the previous user of the Nika fruit. Rather, the fruit is based off of Joy since zone fruits are based off of something. The fruit is based off of... the fruit is based off of the sun god Nika, right? The fruit is based off of the sun god Nika. Joy is just the character, as far as we know, that ate it. Cigarverk says, look at KSI's new setup. It has black walls, minimal. Oh, thank you, Cigar. I'm going to take a look at that actually right now. Let me take a look at that right now. KSI, big-time YouTuber, has, you know, obviously knows what's going on. Let's take a look. This isn't black wall. Oh, I get it. Yeah, it's technically black walls. I don't think I can do something like this, though. Hello? Where is it? Yeah, I guess just the beginning of his video has it. Yeah, that's an interesting look. I mean, when you're a YouTuber that big, honestly, though, you can kind of just get away with anything. That door's not going to be painted for a bit, and stuff won't be on the back for a bit, but I like the new look, personally. All right, everybody. I think, let me just double check. I'm all caught up on supers and everything. Double check. All right. Yeah, all caught up in supers. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Big shouts to everybody that joined today as a member. Yonko, Supernovas, etc. We got a good number of y'all, so definitely appreciate it. Yeah, thanks everybody, and I will talk to you all later.